Hello, everybody. It's Monday and time for the Support Our Hashtag Creatives podcast. Yes, my name is Alan Greenstein, the founder and producer in Support Our Hashtag Creatives. And the goal of this organization is to level the playing field for underrepresented creatives so that they have the same opportunities as everyone else to get their works created, distributed, and seen. I'm also on the board of directors of the Bella Levy Foundation. The goal of the Bella Levy Foundation is to fight human trafficking and provide a safe haven for its warriors. So tonight I'm so excited to have on Tracey Jane, creative stage and screen storyteller. You're a writer, filmmaker, composer, and playwright, all kinds of things. And we're going to find out all about her tonight, and we'll hopefully learn some stuff too. So, Tracey, why don't you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure, Alan. Well, you and I met at the festival at the World Music and International Indie Film Festival in DC in May, which was great. I am originally from Hollywood, Florida, which people don't know. That's the other one. But I grew up. My kind of how I got into all this was like most people. I was a theater kid. I was Audrey and Little Shop and Charity and Sweet Charity and then I went to school and I was doing all sorts of practical things. And then as I got older, when I became a mom, I was like, I really miss that. And I started doing community theater, and again as an actor. And then being a mom, I realized that it was a big commitment to be rehearsing in plays all the time. So I started writing them instead.
Oh,
And then I only had to go to the shows. And then in 2022, a friend challenged me to adapt one of my plays, Men or Dogs, actually starring my actual Boston Terrier, Luigi here, to a short film. And thus began my love triangle with stage and screen.
that's fantastic. Yeah, yeah. So, as Tracy just mentioned, we met at the World Music and Independent Film Festival. June Giso, he is the driving force behind that, and there he is. June, welcome as usual. Big fan of the Porter Hashtag Creatives, and so nice to have you here, June. Yeah, yeah. So let's matter of fact, why don't we start there? We'll be going talking about a number of your films and also your live theater experience. But why don't we let's start with Life is Torture, which is what was screened at the WMIFF. So tell us about that.
I'd love to. It's probably the thing I'm proudest of. I've made 6 short films now. This was number 5. And a now friend, Vesta Millard, approached me because both her parents were veteran Broadway. One was a musician, her mother was a performer back in
Oh,
the day. And her father performed a lot of original stuff. If you listen to the original Sondheim, some of the original shows like Send in the Clowns, that's him on the clarinet. So when they had both passed and there was a challenge to write a musical, she approached me and said, hey, I heard you've written a full musical and that you do these films now. Can you write a short musical in honor of my parents, specifically my mother? And here's the parameters. I live in St. Augustine. There's a castle on the beach. I want to film there. Also, my friends and I have medieval costumes. Also, one of my friends is an Elvis impersonator, but you don't have to use that. So actually, I used all those things, and thus Life is Torture was born. And I was feeling the pressure of the first 4 films I made had all won Best Picture at our local independent film challenges. And so I thought, oh no, she's come to me because she thinks like I can do something great. Like I'm going to crumble under the pressure. And so that's kind of what the story is. The protagonist is a teenage girl who gets her first ever B, which feels like failure when you're a type A
oh.
perfectionist.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, it has kind of a historical element. And it basically, as I spiraled around like where this story could be with Best and her friends and the protagonist, it became about the Middle Ages, which was a metaphor for growing up. And I realized that every Disney princess movie we've all seen takes place in the Middle Ages. And also, we think of the other word that came to mind when I heard medieval is torture. There's a torture museum in St. Augustine as well, and so I thought it was interesting, this juxtaposition of the Disney princess, specifically Snow White. We found an actress who just she is Snow White.
Yeah.
She's like the animated version that come to life, and then of course, modern high school. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, is this the well, your only musical, or have you had others besides this?
It's my only musical film. And so I
Musical
made it
film.
a sing through. I said, look, we got 9 minutes. That was one of the rules of the challenge. I said, we're going to sing every note of this. And then it's like filmmaking in reverse, because instead of getting picture lock and then setting it to a composer, I banged out the songs and lyrics on my piano. I sent them piecemeal to my arranger, the very talented Christopher Robinson, who then arranged like a bass track that we then had the singers record to. And then while we were recording and in post production editing, he was adding so many beautiful instruments. Make it really sounds like a Disney score. But the reason she came to me is because I do write a ton of songs just for shiggles, but also I have a full musical that I've workshopped called A Halloween Carol. And A Halloween Carol is has been workshopped. My dream is for it to be fully produced. It is a musical about Halloween. It is a retelling of Dickens, but it is about the holiday, all about facing one's fears as opposed to generosity in the case of the source tale. So someday I will do that. Meanwhile, the history song that's slapped in the middle of Life is Torture is actually from my full musical. It's what the Ghost of Halloween Past, well, specifically the history teacher, Ms. Fezziwig, if you know Dickens, sings to the class.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So so tell us a bit more about since you mentioned the stage musical. Tell us a little more about how about producing that. What's the challenges in producing a musical on stage?
I don't know if anyone ever hears this that wants to produce a musical and knows how. Come find me. I like to say I was rejected by all the best theaters in town, saying, "Can I rent out your theater for a weekend or two so I can do a full production?" And it's hard. People want to see the musicals they know and love. Sound of Music, Hello Dolly. It's hard to say, "Hey, I'm a woman and I wrote this thing." How do we bring it to life? I will say the first song I wrote, the first song in the musical, it's called That's a Happy Halloween. I wrote when I was 23 and renting on Hollywood Beach, had a rented piano. And I just I've never had piano lessons. I don't read music. I don't write music. I just compose it. It's all in my head, which is why it's so good that I finally met Christopher Robinson, who could write it down for me and actually arrange it, because I have a good ear for melody and like flip chords. I just kind of fool around. Lyrics I love, but I don't know how to do the musical things to make it beautiful. And so together we make music.
Oh, great. Yeah.
So when I had been playing the song, and then I wrote a short play version of that Halloween Carol, and then I realized, I can make this a musical. I just need a song for this ghost and a song for that ghost, and there's actually 15 original songs. It was workshopped to a sold out audience here at the Renaissance Theater in Orlando back in 2022. And since then, I've just been sitting on all the great music. I'm hoping to release a few songs, like fully produced songs, hoping that if someone hears the songs, that then they'll be like, "Hey, let's make this happen." But yeah, it requires a lot of money and investors and people to believe in your story, I guess.
Wow. Okay. That's a great story. And yeah. So I guess more musical theater in your future.
I actually just miss doing it for my. Yeah, I think that I've always been a writer. I think music is the highest level language, and the most universal. It goes across other language, even like my daughter is really into K-pop. My son is into Italian music now. Like you don't have to know even all the words to feel the sense of something. So yes, I think musical theater and writing songs is in my blood. The other way it's come in handy is in filmmaking. I learned pretty quickly when I wrote Men Are Dogs, and there's this whole Elvis theme. The dog ends up being named Elvis, spoiler alert. But I
Mhm.
actually thought in my naivete, you could just put in, oh, Jailhouse Rocks when he's at the jail. And then I had all the Hound Dog. I had all the songs about that. And there's like, oh, you can't do that? That's not allowed. No, you can't just use other people's music in a film, even though in theater you can have an ASCAP license and play it in a live show. So for my second film on, I've written original songs, not musical theater type songs, but musical songs for them. Like if I needed a musical montage or just kind of a song for the credits, as opposed, there's just no time to try to get rights. And again, indie filmmaking, money. So yeah, it's just easier to write a song.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, writing all your own music, there's an advantage there because just like you said, you're not going to have any. No one's going to be wanting to get the rights, pay for the rights, stuff like that. You've got it all to yourself. So I think it's great that you're writing all your own music.
I like to say I'm a Jane of all trades, mistress of none. But then so I've changed that to mistress of fun. Like I don't think it's a bad thing, but like some people are super good at one thing. Like my arranger Chris, I mean, well, he's good at lots of things, but like people who are really musical and have studied it, I admire so much because I don't have that persistence. I'm like that with words, like finding the right story, but everything else, I'm kind of a generalist and I just like to do a little of everything.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Let's see. Recently at the New York City Independent Film Festival, you had a film shown called The Heartbreak. Tell us about that.
So it's a sci-fi comedy. A disoriented woman gets an unwelcome stay at the world's worst hotel. It turns out it's also the biggest because everyone stays here, everyone in the whole world. So it's a metaphor for, of course, again, Elvis, my beloved, for Heartbreak Hotel. I did write a song, my own version of Heartbreak Hotel for the credits. Yeah, so it's about it's about grief essentially. Yes, there's romantic heartbreak. There's other kinds of heartbreak, loss of a family member, someone you love, um, disappointment, grief is actually more than just someone dying, and a romantic heartbreak is similar to someone dying, except that the person's still alive and they just left you. So like grief, it's this spiral thing. There's no like, okay, I'm ready to check out now. And
Yeah.
so it's also ironic, the only way to leave is to stay is kind of the paradox that makes this
Yeah.
sci-fi. Yeah, and we filmed overnight in a local hotel here. This is Orlando, the hospitality vacation capital of the country, if not the world. I had a friend who happened to, own part of a hotel by UCF here, our university, and we filmed overnight. And real guests would wander in as we were filming, and we had, all the heartbreak stuff on it, and they would be really confused, and we would go get the real desk clerk, and it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to Life is Torture for a moment, tell us about the locations that you used for that.
So the castle that Vesta, my executive producer and the co-star of, wanted to film at is called Otis Castle with three T's, Ottis Castle. It's on Volano Beach, which is just north of St. Augustine proper. And it's hard to believe that it's sitting there, not on the A1A, but it's all off A1A, not on the sand of the beach, but right across the street. And so while we never actually show that, if you Google it, you can see it looks like a castle. It was modeled after an Irish monastery from, I'm wanting to say 600 BC or 600 years ago, maybe. Yeah, 600 years ago. That a man named Rusty Ickes and his friend Otis, built brick by brick in the 80s. And these two men built this as a testament to Jesus Christ. He woke up from a dream, Rusty did, with this vision of building, I'm going to build an Irish castle here on Milano Beach. And his son, who's now the caretaker of it, is continuing that legacy. But it's amazing, a beautiful, beautiful space that they use for weddings, and it was a church for a time until the pandemic, but it was just the perfect setting for Life is Torture.
Yeah, yeah, and it really is. And I hope everybody gets a chance to see it. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, tell us about I'm All Ears. It's a short one take film. Tell us about the challenges of doing something in one take.
Well, I got to learn about those challenges a lot more on Saturday when we film it. This past Saturday, we actually did a full day, what I called a dress rehearsal. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but hey, if somebody's watching, let's reward them. I called it the Everything But Blood dress rehearsal. So we had our costumes, we worked out blocking just like a play. So it felt more like a play. We had to get blocking. Now we rehearse it. Now we run it over and over and over, and then we time it. We've got to get in, exactly the timing perfect, because with a one take, there's no editing. And if you have a time challenge, which we do, and we want to make the most of that and use every second and frame we can, we have to, rehearse it like laser to really be at the same speed. So then this Saturday we will meet again. And when I say we, Vesta Millard, who again had challenged me to write the musical at the castle in St. Augustine, she also was a DJ. And I know you've mentioned maybe you should have her on the show. I totally agree. She has a great voice. So she was a DJ on Long Island for years. Again, her parents being Broadway performers. And so she grew up there. And so she had this idea for a story, and she even had the title. The title's hers. The closing kind of image is hers. And we were having lunch over tacos, and I said, "But why would this happen?" And she said, "I don't know. You're the writer. Figure it out." And then I did, and I got super excited about it. And they say you should always be most excited about the project you're on. Well, I really am, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. But yeah, it's different challenges because there is no editing. There's no like, oh, I really like the performance on this one shot. For that, let's put that with this thing here. No, it's like this one all together or nothing at all. So if we're starting to shoot it on Saturday and we get to a point where if an actor says a line that's not what was written and it just won't work, or if something's off, then I'll just have to call cut, and then that whole take is just moot, and then we'll try again. So yeah, I'm optimistic. I think it'll take about 8 or 10 tries of what ultimately won't be a frame over 7 minutes to get.
Oh, okay. So that it's interesting. You mentioned that if you have to say cut, then you have to start all over again. You have to get the idea. You have to get through it from start to finish without stopping.
Yeah, we're in a regular indie film. It's like, you run the whole thing, even, and you do different coverage. Like, okay, first let's get the wide shot. Now let's do the coverage where I'm focused on this character. Now the coverage over their shoulder where I'm focused on the other character. And you're gonna piece together, you meaning the editor, not me, the best performances and the things that can connect together most seamlessly. This is not that at all. It's kind of like live theater. You're recording a play. And I did actually make a storyboard for this one to make it super clear. Like, okay, cameraman, my dear friend Gregory Moan. These are like the things that like I'm hoping along the way, like the milestones. You get this image of her holding up the pickle jar or what have you, her at the microphone close up. And so, just having those check boxes, because every time the cameraman's a performer too, because he's walking around everybody trying to navigate. It's like a dance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well. And good luck on that. That's really exciting. Yeah. Will this be released at all once this is over with?
So there'll be a private screening for the Organization of Indie Filmmakers here in Orlando, probably in October. And then we'll, submit to festivals and stuff and promote
Okay.
that. And then, yeah, the bigger question, I've never put any of now this will be 7 films. Now, this one is Vesta's, and I'm, helping her with, but our films um, on YouTube because I'm not sure what to do with them. Like, I don't want to just put them out there. I'm trying to figure out how to strategically break them up into little pieces, especially since most of them are comedies, right? Like people see a little snippet of this and then to go see the whole thing. And it's not really about people talk about monetizing. I mean, my goal is just eyeballs. I just want people to see it. I want people to laugh. I want people to love these characters and be like, oh, look, that's like Snow White singing out a window. Oh, look, now she's in school. Isn't that funny? Now she's singing 1 second. Perfect. My life is perfect. And then torture. My life is torture. So yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. They're all safely protected on Vimeo and kind of, making festival rounds. But that's why, honestly, June, picking Life is Torture, us going to DC, it meant so much to be surrounded by other creative filmmakers. June himself is just a miracle, a creative, artistic miracle model, and just a great human being. And I hope that my whole creative life, however long it is, that I can always find people like June that are genuine. And because you hear about, Hollywood and LA and New York, and things are just so cutthroat. And I do this for fun. I mean, I have a real job. I'm a copywriter, not a real job, but I have a day job that puts my kids through school and keeps my lights on. But I do this for passion, and I love being surrounded by other people who are the same.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, as I said, yeah, Jun Nugiso is always giving people opportunities. And so myself, I'm executive producer along with Randy, my wife, of his films, and we also have acted in I think about 7 of them by now. So he said, and that was something that I didn't plan about becoming an actor, but yeah, during my Randy, we're going to do this together, and we have. So yeah, so
I love that.
kudos to
I mean,
June.
honestly, you and Randy are the most important part of the equation of art. Coming from community theater, I can tell you, like, it is the audiences, especially when a theater has a loyal base, like coming to see it. I mean, and a theater gets known for a certain thing, whether it's like, hey, we do the classics, or hey, we do new work, or what have you. And without an audience, there is no theater. All a writer wants is a reader. All a playwright wants is an audience. All a filmmaker wants is eyeballs.
That's yes, that's right. Getting eyeballs on one's content, a big challenge, and as you mentioned already, and well, I hope I'm wishing you all best of luck in getting those eyeballs there.
But I
And
love the mission of your support our hashtag creatives, because that's what you're
oh,
saying,
thank you.
like the producer side in you, and like, yeah, let's support these people. I mean, it's kind of like a modern what do they call them in Italy, the patrons, of the arts, the
Yeah,
benefactors.
yeah,
We need
yes,
more of those. Come find me.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's my passion as well. Is making sure that people get. It's just like I said, people making of these various intellectual property, and we want to get it seen. Right. Exactly. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about what you are doing attending the University of Central Florida.
What am I doing? I don't know. What am I doing?
What are you
So,
doing?
if you can see me on camera, you realize, like, I'm not, I'm a mature woman. I'm going back to school to get my master's in fine arts, in a special program that the University of Central Florida has here, specifically in feature film. And it's pretty unique in that the thesis at the end of the 3 years will be a feature film. And I saw a friend post about it, a friend who teaches there, to say, hey, do you want to get paid to make your feature film? And I was like, what? Ears on alert. And so I applied, and I feel so grateful to have received a fellowship, which means, that I get to go. I get to be in this cohort of other filmmakers. Yes, send more films, please. I will. Just you wait, June. So we'll be learning, kind of the rules of filmmaking, even though I've been doing it, I'll learn the right way, I guess, versus the indie way. But also the structure of having someone to really, and the support of not just a major university, but I'm very lucky. It's in my backyard. The stadium is 10 minutes from my house. It is the country's, I believe now, largest university with some, I don't know, 60, 80,000 students. But to have that kind of backing, the resources and just the credibility, and whether it comes from insurance, like I've really stretched myself doing these films. Like it's very hard to just be immortal and make
Mhm.
films. But when there's a will, there's a way, as June is the champion of, you figure it out. But to have, kind of these trailblazers between the professors and the camaraderie of the other students, it's very exciting. So I'm going to continue working my full-time job, but all the classes are at night. And again, by the end, there will be a feature film to be announced, because I haven't started class yet. I have to get my script subject approved, but it will likely be sourced from among the 7 now films stories that I've already told in short form. I think it will be one of those in long form.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be continuing our discussion, but first we're going to pause for a brief commercial and we'll be right back. I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Our Hashtag Creatives. At Support Our Hashtag Creatives, I offer a number of services to support those developing a project. Check out the services tab of my website at supportourcreatives.com. If you are interested, please use the contact tab on my website or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. And we're back. Okay, let's continue the discussion about your getting your MFA at the University of Central Florida. So how big is that program? I mean, how many students are there in a given class?
So in the graduate program for this MFA, again, I learned a term I didn't really understand. Cohort style means that and it seems like it's like 20 or so of us who will begin in the fall, will stay together throughout the 3-year journey.
Oh, okay. So we're going to see 20 films coming out of this?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's a melody. That's a lot of that's great.
What's
Yeah.
the plural of thesis? Because 20 thesi will
Besides,
be one for each student. Yeah.
yeah, right. Okay. So this is definitely a great way for you to get into the feature film realm, because everything has been short films for yourself, and yeah. So I guess what challenges do you expect to have to overcome while you're trying to come up with this feature length film?
Well, first, I think it's like the what do you call it when you have trouble decision making? Fear of missing out, or fear of better options. FOBO, probably more so. Like, I don't know, I could do this one or this one, and I've sketched a couple of them out, like fully, like the beats, like not writing the full scripts, but I have an idea how I could execute 2 of them. So that to me is the first challenge. The next is that I've kind of made I don't want to say career, but my spare time creativity projects have really been in short form. So my plays, other than the full musical, which again has yet to be fully produced, but I have about 250 pages of 10-page plays that together I call Quickies by Tracey Jane.
Oh,
So they're short plays of love and longing. And so I'm got pretty good at like, okay, when you only have 10 pages, and you're really writing to black box theater. So there's no substantive set. I typically write 4 characters, 2 women, 2 men. I typically, and this is something being a woman, I feel like write about what you know. I know what it's like to be a woman. So I usually have a female protagonist. And then, I like the dynamic of women and men. So yeah, they're flirty. There's double entendres. There's metaphors, personification, anthropomorphication, and other literary toys. But again, short, quick. Same with my films, like because of these time limits with the challenges, they've all been 9 minutes, 7, and this last one will be 7 minutes. So quickie, short. Quickies by Tracey Jane. So this will be longy. This will be full. And this is why when, the program interviewed me and said, well, why do you need this program? Because you're already making films and by yourself, indie, you have a great team, obviously. I said, I need the structure. I need the help, the confidence, the peer pressure, the grade, to motivate me to like go big and stop doing the little things for a while so I can do this one big thing. And it's scary. It's scary I know people do it and people say, oh, I'm going to make a feature film. But for me, I guess because I just feel like I know how to tell a short story. And I think it is harder people keep saying, oh, it's harder to tell a short story. I do feel like once I pick the one and start to write it and expanding it, you have so much more time. It'll feel weird, like, oh, I'm wasting words here, but a feature requires more words than a short. So I'm excited about it, but also honestly terrified.
Oh well, I'm I trust that once you get together in your cohort and you bounce ideas off each other, I'm sure the other people are also feel just the same way you do, and you'll all come out of it with the confidence that you need to succeed. Yeah, yeah. Is there any particular minimum length that these films, or maximum length for that matter, that the films in this program have to be?
I think 90 minutes is kind of like a standard feature film. There's F1. I think was like 2.5 hours. My son loved it. He's seen it 3 times, but I think for the most part, somewhere between 90 minutes. Like right, don't make Gone with the Wind, obviously, but 90 minutes to I would think 2 hours max.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, and when do you start this program?
In the fall,
In
in
fall.
September. Yes, there's orientation in August. So yeah, at my age, I get to go pick out a backpack, I guess, and go
Yeah.
back to school. And I'm really looking forward to it. And actually, my son is going to be a junior next year, so it is foreseeable that my last year of the program might be his first year.
Oh.
If he goes to UCF, our backyard college, then theoretically we might be there at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um, let's talk about production value. That is the look and feel in films. So, what do you have to say about that? What makes good production value?
Well, here I'm going to speak to if there's any like buddy out there who's not like a veteran filmmaker. Where I was when I first learned this term was my second film, and I informed my DP, cinematographer, director of photography, if you're not familiar with that term, that I was courting my local mall, the Oviedo Mall, here in Florida, because I wanted to film in the old Victoria's Secret. So it had pink carpet, but Vicky's Secrets had left the premises and it was vacant, and it had a lovely display window, and I was filming, adapting a play I'd written called Build-A-Bob. And Build-A-Bob is about a not too distant future where you can go to the mall and design and manifest your ideal battery operated boyfriend. So I just had this vision of these hunks in the behind glass and the display windows, modeling, and they're kind of like holograms. They're the merchandise. And so anyway, when I mentioned this to my cinematographer, he said, well, that would have great production value. And I said, what is that? He said, well, like you're filming in a space versus like you're in somebody's apartment, right? A lot of beginner indie films, people kind of look to what's around them, what's for free, or even you think you might film in a park and you learn, oh, there's rules about that. Sticks on bricks, you can't touch the ground. Oh, okay, well, that's problematic. So getting real locations is part of production value. But also the world building that you create. So, it's everything from costuming. For the heartbreak, my I call her the momian, my mom, who has an embroidery machine and is lifelong seamstress. She embroidered many uniforms for me that had the Heartbreak Hotel and Spa logo on it for me. And so that gave production value, or name tags for the school people in Life is Torture, or for the Heartbreak, the employees. So those kind of things, it's a quick Amazon thing, but it seems real. It gives production value. Like you didn't just think of this yesterday and film it tomorrow. You gave some time to the pre-production and the production value of like F1. I mean, this is the other extreme of Tracey making her little indie films. I mean, my son's already told me, okay, well, this was actually, this race, and this is Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, and these are the real people, they're really on that track. And like, so that's an example of you couldn't make F1 just at your local, grocery store parking lot. You need the production value of being on these real tracks. And when you're an indie filmmaker, production value is a challenge because you have to kind of sell businesses on your dream. And I've been very fortunate to sell a lot of my Oviedo local business, family-owned businesses, smaller businesses. Oviedo Mall's not small, but I, convinced the marketing manager, hey, this is a win. We filmed the hair scene for the Heartbreak at my hairdresser's salon. Also here in Oviedo, we filmed the ending scene in my favorite Italian restaurant, Panuzzo's Cafe. So yeah, if you ask people, and especially if it's family owned, and it's like, hey, we'll promote pictures, it'll be fun. It's usually a win. So yeah, production value, it just takes time. It just takes time. And again, finding what's valuable to them. Like, okay, you got to film when you're not going to be interrupting business, and you got to help promote it and thank them and do all the things that make them feel like they're part of the journey.
Yeah. So part of production value is finding the right physical location for what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I filmed on the Ferris wheel. If you come to Orlando and you go to Fun Spot at Old Town in Kissimmee, we filmed there for Love Eternal. I've also filmed many times in my house, right? Like if we just need a scene that's a house, I have a house, and it's much easier to film there. We filmed Men or Dogs. My first film in my backyard. We simulated a park in my backyard because I learned that trying to film in a real park is challenging, and you want to control the set. This is why Hollywood studios have sets, because it's easier to control the lighting, and you don't have people trying to walk in and out. When we did film at the mall, we filmed also overnight. But we had one scene we had to film during the day, and it was just, we had signs everywhere like, hey, we're filming, if you don't want to be in the picture. People will do anything to try to be in the film if you have a hot set going on. They're like, oh, I'll just pretend I'm walking by. But then they're looking right at the camera, and now they've ruined your shot. So yeah, a lot of it is location. And again, for indie filmmakers, like I tell people, like if you're starting out, like I look around to the places you frequent. For Men or Dogs, we filmed at a diner. My favorite local diner here in Oviedo is called the Townhouse Restaurant. I ate there weekly for about a month, trying to gradually talk to them about, hey, I'd like to film here. I'm making a film. I think it'd be cool. And I just kept eating there. I think they got tired of seeing my face.
Yeah. Well, It sounds like that you've gotten quite a bit of experience, obviously, in making sure that your projects have what we call the production value. Yeah, I've learned something from your discussion tonight about that. Really great. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so okay, we're gonna stop for another brief commercial. We'll be right back. I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Our Hashtag Creatives. If you make something, albeit make a movie, start a business, write a book, make a physical product, run a nonprofit, promote people, are a songwriter, etc. You too are a creative, and I would love to have you be a guest on the Support Our Hashtag Creatives podcast. If you want to be featured on this podcast, please use the contact tab on my website at supportourcreatives.com or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. We're back. So, you mentioned before about film festivals. Would that be your preferred way for initial distribution of all of your projects?
I mean, I've been lucky. The film festivals I've gone to, they've all been amazing. They've treated the filmmakers like gold. Um, the coolest part about going to a film festival to me, besides, knowing that people are seeing your film, it's really about the people you meet, like the other filmmakers, but also audience members. You get objective feedback. When I was in New York and The Heartbreak was screened, I was just overwhelmed with people coming up to me, all kinds of people telling me how they identified with it. Like, I lost my husband 3 years ago. I'm still at the heartbreak. Or, hey, I had, and they would quote the character's name who broke her heart. I had one of those. Yeah, I'm there too. I'm still in the lobby. I'm still in shock. So that, but also the filmmakers from all over the world, like whether it was June's event, there were so many incredible people, even from the DC Maryland area, like yourself, to meet, but from all over. In New York, I was really surprised. People were either from the New York area, or it seemed like from another country. I had people from Italy and London, and my curator who had picked my film was from Paris. And it was just really humbling to see their films, but also just to connect with people on a human level, and get their experience and their thoughts on filmmaking and the challenges and the rewards. But yeah, as far as like the model of festivals, it's if people have an illusion it's about it, something other than it is. It's just a cool thing. It's cool to get your stuff out there. It's cool to meet the people. The people who put on these festivals are saints. I mean, they have to have such a passion and fire for all the planning that goes into it. There's a local one here in Central Florida called Love Your Shorts. It's in Sanford, and it's a family-owned thing. And they and their friends and the community put so much into it each year. It's at a historic theater. And again, they treat the filmmakers like gold. And I'm just amazed by all that they do. So, yeah, festivals are great. First way for your film to be seen. What comes after that, I have no idea. I'm trying to figure that out. But before I just put it out there on the interwebs, I'm looking into maybe an in-between solution. I mean, there's Epic Theaters here in Florida, is family owned. They have, I think, a dozen or so screens, awesome, beautiful theaters. I had been talking to them about maybe, a win-win. It's a different world now because creators can distribute content directly. And of course, then there's still the traditional models. And now, of course, streaming. So it's a little overwhelming, but at the same time exciting because you can just, try do it your way. Try to find what works. There is no single right answer, I guess, is the story.
Yeah. Well, you've given a great explanation about the advantages of the way you're doing it right now. And as you say, what comes next, we'll see. Yeah. Okay. This is very, very good words. Do you have any words of encouragement for those who want to emulate what you do? Those who want to become filmmakers or live theater makers?
Yeah, I mean, I think, just do it seems like that might already be registered tagline. But you learn by doing. And one of the taglines of actually one of my films that I co-wrote with a friend, it's Love Eternal is the name of the film, but the tagline is nothing inspires but a deadline. And I say that all the time. I said it before I wrote that as the tagline for this, because these short play festivals was really how I honed my craft of writing. Because a deadline, a lot of them, they want something new that's never been produced or never been published. And so you put on your creativity cap. And especially if there are parameters, I believe a creative asset is having limitations. So if you just say, hey, whatever your name is, write something new, you're probably thinking, well, I don't know, what should I write? But if I say, okay, it has to be related to the theme of 1001 Nights, right? The Arabian Nights, 1001 Tales. Okay, now you're okay, all right, well, that was a frame story. You got Aladdin in there. All right, maybe I could do a retelling. One of my first plays is called Sex and a Story. It's basically a retelling of Scheherazade, seducing the Sultan each night with storytelling. She would get to the, climax and stop just short because, oh, no, look, the sun is up. And then she would continue the next night.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really cool. But again, it was a theme. That was the theme. So give yourself parameters, limitations, look for deadlines. It will motivate you. Here in Orlando for filmmakers, we have the organization of independent filmmakers. There's about 10,000 or so of us. And we do these challenges 2 times a year or more. And there's certain genres and the camaraderie of knowing, hey, we're all going to write it by a certain date. We're all going to turn the films in by a certain date. We're all going to screen it together and celebrate each other. That sense of community, and we're in this together, and we're not competing against each other so much as ourselves, to challenge ourselves to do new things and learn new things. I think that's powerful. So yeah, just believe that you can do it. I never would have guessed, in 2021 that I would be saying here now, I've made 7 short films, but, and I'm going back to school to make a feature. But yeah, just say yes to the universe, the rule of improv. Say yes and see where the universe takes you.
Yeah, you go. That's great. Great nuggets of advice there. And so, how can people get in touch with you?
So I have a website, Tracey Jane Creates. I do have an EY in my name. Tracey Jane Creates is it's a mishmash of a website, but I have, reference to my plays on there, my films. You'll see Halloween Carol, but you can submit on there. And it has my, the Equal Play Productions email. Equal Play is my production company of sorts. It's inspired by my love of pirates and the golden age of piracy. I also have 100,000 words of a historical fiction pirate novel about the female pirate Mary Read that I will finish someday. But yeah, this idea of equal play is really that not just women, but on a pirate ship specifically, everyone got an equal share of the venture. So equal prey, equal pay, they would say. So I say equal play, and let's all have fun, and everybody gets an equal voice. So I have a very collaborative approach to storytelling. A lot of times my actors or my DP or somebody will suggest a line change, and I always listen. I love that I get to direct the stuff I write because it's never too late to make the line even better.
Okay, so that's, you said, equal play. Okay, right?
Equal play, yes. People think it's
play.
equal pay because I'm a woman. No, it's equal play, like plays and let's play and make
Oh,
art.
okay. Oh, very good. All right. So, well, I'd like to thank Tracy for being on tonight once again. I always enjoy when our guests can actually help people to learn things. And another example tonight with about, for those who are interested in either the live theater side of things or the film side of things, we've learned a lot about how you navigate those waters, so to speak. Yeah.
Alan, thank
So
you for having me, and thank you for the awesome work you do with this show and in your life. That really you support creatives, not just with a hashtag, but with your actions. Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you. Well, so I'm just glad I can do that. So thank you for the kind words. Yeah. So I want to remind people that uh, if for those watching live and well those who watch the replay, because I thank you for tuning in. The replay will be seen on various streaming platforms such as Spotify. And well, with that, once again, thank you to Tracey Jane. I'm going to say good night, everybody.
Night.
Here's a message about Crystal Starnes, advocate for victims, and podcaster.
Are you an entrepreneur, actor, music artist, or someone trying to make a difference in the community, or have a story that could help someone suffering in silence? If your answer is yes, then you need to check out Crystal Starnes' various podcast shows that she produces and hosts. Come on one of her shows and make a difference. Promote your business on her platforms. Ask her about package deals to get your brand more noticed. Want a commercial about your business done by her voice? She also offers package deals for that service. You can find her at crystalstarnshow.com and voiceforvictimsradio.com. Also, if you want access to all her podcast shows and blogs, join her community awareness page for just $4.99 a month. That's right, just $4.99 a month. Then you would have access at a click of a button to her various platforms. Crystal Starnes is trying to make a difference for all people in the world. She wants to help as many people as she can so no one is suffering in silence. Anyone who has a vision and wants to achieve their dream, she has the passion to help promote you to get you to the next level of success.